As many of you know, yesterday afternoon started as kind of a hectic afternoon for us. About 12, a little afternoon yesterday, we got a report of a robbery at the Dollar General, Sherman Hills and State Road 50, which is just a little east of the interstate in Hernando County. And we had a frantic 911 call. I believe that's been released to you. And we, of course, had units responding to that. We also had information that there were a couple citizens that were engaging and following the robbery suspects. And we quickly developed a second scene just underneath the interstate at State Road 50, where one of the citizens apparently was able to box in or in some way slow the person down and actually tried to physically restrain them in their vehicle. That citizen sustained some injuries, apparently didn't need to go to the hospital, but the suspects got away. A second citizen followed those suspects westbound and southbound to the south central portion of Hernando County in the area of Saturn and Ensley, where they abandoned their pickup truck. Of course, we had deputies on the way because the citizen was calling in directions to us. And very shortly, a K-9 unit, Corporal Stephen Miller, and Sergeant Matt Willowbridge were on the scene and began tracking one of the suspects. That suspect was found in the area, the south end of Rackley Road, and my deputies engaged that suspect and did use deadly force on that individual, and that individual is deceased. I can release his name. We have notified next of kin, and we've got him positively identified as Michael U. Hilber, H-I-L-B-E-R. He is a white male. He was born on February 27th of 1986, and as I said, he is deceased at the scene. The second suspect was on the run, and I'm happy to report that he has been captured within the last hour or two through a lot of diligent work from my detectives and my deputies throughout the night. Fortunately, he was still in the same area. He had not, as far as we know, interacted with any citizens in any way, and there were no injuries in his apprehension, and we're in the process of interviewing that person now. I'm not quite at liberty to give out his information yet. I'm not even 100% sure we have him positively identified, but we are questioning him, and that's where we stand right now. We did find out some information last night, and I wanted to share it with you that I think you'll find interesting. This video, somebody brought it to our attention last night, and I'll start it over again for you. It's on the screen. This is a subway robbery in Sarasota, and we believe that this individual is the deceased suspect. And he robbed a subway the day before yesterday, I believe, in Sarasota, and you can see him brandishing what appears to be a gun and getting money from the clerk. We're also actively pursuing several other leads where they might be involved in other robberies in the Tampa Bay area and possibly even out of state. I did hint to you yesterday that we thought that these two individuals might be involved in a New England state. That was in New Hampshire, and we're relatively sure that these two individuals were, they attempted apprehension up there in New Hampshire, and they actually drug a law enforcement officer a short distance. I don't have any other information other than that, and there were warrants out for one or both of the people in that case. There's also some drug involvement and some drug warrants. So with that, I think I've pretty much given you the rundown of what we have now. I'll be happy to answer a couple questions. Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, you're live right now on News Channel 8. One of the big questions here with this latest suspect just captured, did he have a weapon? Was he armed?
I don't even have that information. I wanted to get it out to the public as quickly as we possibly could. I don't think he had a weapon on him when we took him into custody, but I haven't verified that. But he is in custody. We believe there are only two people involved, so the people in South Central Hernando can rest a little easy right now that we've got both suspects accounted for.
Was he hiding in someone's house, or?
We're not sure exactly where he was hiding, but through some very low-tech and high-tech techniques, we were able to bring him into custody. And I'm very proud of my detectives. They are actually, I'm proud of everybody. We had several scenes yesterday We had the Dollar General, we had the interstate, we had where they abandoned their vehicle, where the shooting took place, and then there were a couple sightings. My people were stretched thin, but they did an excellent job, and I'm very proud of them.
Sheriff, with regard to the gunshots yesterday, what kind of circumstances led to the deputy requiring to fire his weapon?
Well, I'm not at liberty to say that. FDLE is investigating that, but the preliminary information is, obviously, you see this gentleman brandishing a gun at a Subway, we believe to be the same person at a Subway in Sarasota, and I will tell you that if he did in fact do that, I don't have that information yet, but if he did that with one of my deputies, of course they're going to respond with deadly force.
What was the state of the second suspect when you guys brought him in? I mean, he had, essentially could have spent the night in the woods. Was he desperate, dirty, tired? What state did your deputies find him in?
Lieutenant, were you there? Yes. Okay, you want to respond? This is Lieutenant Pierulli. He was actually on the scene when he was taken into custody.
Good morning. We were able to make contact with him this morning, as the sheriff alluded to. He was in the normal state. Indications may lead us to believe that some indications were that he had been on a drug binge, possibly under the influence, coming off of it. But he was fine. He was not injured. He was not in any way, shape, or form threatened or harmful towards us or anything. He was pretty cooperative at the time.
Did he understand that that you guys were looking for him? I mean, was he at least able to
Yes, he
understand
knew that
that?
he was able to comprehend everything. We did have some brief conversation with him at the scene. One of our detectives was there and briefed him on what was going on, and he was, of course, aware of what he had been involved in and what was now going to occur from that point forward.
Do you know the relation between these two people?
I think they were friends. I don't know. I don't have any indication they were relatives, but they were obviously. We believe they were involved in several crimes. And again, it's still very early. It's been less than 24 hours since the original call came out. We've been working through the night, but I can tell you my crime analysis unit is working very hard to make sure that if they were involved in any other crimes here or between here and New Hampshire, that we're going to get that information and hold them accountable for that too, at least for one individual.
I understand you all had conducted an exhaustive search by 1 o'clock this morning. The area where he was found exactly, was that an area that had been searched previously and he ended up there, or how did that?
Yeah, again, we don't know exactly where he was hiding, but when we took him into custody, it was very close to the original, within walking distance, I would say, of the original shooting. Now, I don't know if he was hiding all night, real close to the shooting, but it is the proverbial needle in a haystack. You know, you have a lot of agricultural area there, you have a lot of outbuildings, a lot of sheds, a lot of brush, hay bales. I mean, there are literally a million places to hide, and a very large area to search. And so he must have hunkered down last night and was able to avoid capture until this morning.
Did you get tips from anyone who had spotted him in the area?
We had gotten a lot of tips, but not specifically to where that led to his capture.
Lieutenant, can you talk any more about specifically where he was found and what circumstances led up to his capture, to the degree that you're able to say anything right now?
No, at this point, it's obviously still under investigation. We have our major case detectives interviewing the subject right now, so there's not too much information that I can divulge regarding the tactics used to capture him and whatnot, but like I said, we were able to find him, locate him without a problem, and he was taken into custody with no problems.
He didn't put up a fight. Was there any kind of conversation with him, like, you need to come with us?
No, there was no fight. He pretty much knew that his time was up, and he was tired from hiding and being on the run for the night, so so he came out with no problem and didn't cause us any issues and was taken into custody without issue.
Sheriff, since this whole event might cross state lines, is the FBI involved?
I don't believe we have the FBI involved at this point. We were in contact with a couple of federal agencies, but I don't think that they has yet provided any assistance, because again, this all happened very quickly and we were very busy. I will tell you that we've got a tremendous amount of assistance, and it would be remiss if I didn't say, and I'm probably going to leave some people out, but the Florida Highway Patrol was there very quickly and assisted in the perimeter. We had Pasco Sheriff's Office that jumped in and helped us with their support, K-9, and of course a lot of deputies. Even Department of Corrections, I think, had the bloodhounds here, and FWC assisted. So we had a tremendous amount of assistance last night. And you know, of course, my people did a great job and were stretched very thin and haven't had a lot of sleep. So I'm very proud of them, and I think you know, these individuals made a mistake coming to Hernando County between the citizens that got involved and law enforcement. we were able to stop their crime spree. As I said, we are relatively sure there's at least one robbery that we can attribute to them, and probably we're going to have several more.
And you can assure people at home right now that you don't think anybody else in the area was helping them,
Nope,
giving them any kind of assistance. This investigation, as far as catching these people, is over.
it's over, yes ma'am.
Can you tell us what, if anything, was found inside the truck, the weapons, the narcotics?
I'm not even sure that we've obtained a search warrant, or we're in the process of obtaining the search warrant for the truck. And so I don't even know if we know what's in there yet, but we will be obviously looking into that and doing an investigation to see if we can determine where they've been over the last several weeks, and tie them into the investigations in local agencies, again, between here and New Hampshire.
Sheriff, the deputy who fired the shot, what's his name?
We actually had 2 deputies on the scene. I'm not sure if FDLE has determined the round counts and so forth, but Sergeant Matt Lillibridge was one of the deputies on the scene, and the K-9 deputy was Corporal Stephen Miller. And they're both veterans. If I'm not mistaken, Corporal Miller's been here since, I believe, 2003. Yes, 2003. And Sergeant Lillibridge has been here since 1996. So both of them have a lot of experience, and of course the K-9 and both deputies are fine.
And-
Sheriff, if I can ask, the citizens that got involved outside the armed robbery seem obviously highly dangerous, but potentially they could have stopped a multi-state crime ring. I guess what is, as the law enforcement community, what is your reaction to this, and what do you want to tell people out there that may find themselves in a similar situation?
Well, obviously, we're thrilled to death that we were able to capture these people. However, interacting with a violent suspect is never recommended by any law enforcement organization. We would advise against that. It's really by the grace of God that the citizen was not more seriously injured or worse yet killed. However, those that did follow and give us descriptions and give us direction of travel and let us know where they bailed and so forth, if a citizen can do that safely, we always ask them to be our eyes and ears, let us know what's going on as quickly as they can and give us updates. Each person has to make those decisions on their own, but we don't recommend it because anybody you interact with, you never know what they're capable of, and you never know what they have as far as being armed and so forth. So it could have ended up as a deadly situation there. So we're just thankful that the citizen wasn't seriously injured.
Was anything actually taken from the Dollar General store? Did they take money or?
I believe the robbery was successful, but I can't give you a whole lot of information on that. But it was more than just an attempted robbery.
Do you expect to be able to release the second suspect's name very soon?
Yeah, hopefully sometime, I would assume hopefully sometime today, but as I said, we have just started interviewing the person, and we want to make sure we know exactly who it is because as you saw in the video, our deceased suspect was the one that went into the store and so forth, so we weren't even 100% sure who the second person was. So as soon as we get that person identified and releasing their name won't inhibit any other investigative issues that we're dealing with, we'll get that out to you.
But you're sure this is the guy?
Yes, oh yes, so I can tell you through the what I know of the investigation, we are about as sure as you can be that this is the individual, yes, yes.
Sheriff, it's for the deputies again. Given that the investigation is ongoing with FDLE, are they on paid administrative leave?
Yes, yes, that's routine. Anytime a deputy is involved in a shooting, we place them on routine administrative leave with pay. I did talk to both of the deputies at the scene yesterday. They seem to be doing as well as can be expected, considering what they had to deal with. We're going to make sure that we give them what they need and hopefully get them back to work relatively quickly as soon as FDLE is completed with their investigation. But all the things we have now is obviously this individual was, definitely a criminal.
What are all the charges he's looking at right now, the second?
They went into, it is way too early to tell. We obviously have him involved in the armed robbery and the incident at the interstate. It's probably going to take some time before we actually get all the charges documented and place him under arrest for all the charges. And again, we may even have charges in other jurisdictions. So, okay, any other questions?